I've just finished listening to Waiting for the Worms. That was quite an engaging experience for me. Now we are at number 24, which is titled Stop. But Waiting for the Worms ended in a way that I know I've got to go through smoothly from one to the other. So I'm going to start just a few notes before the end, and then we'll try to go smoothly in sequence into Stop. Interesting. And he put this right after that mass call to mass action. It's very nice. It's so short. I didn't realize it was so short, so I need to listen to it again. The piano has sort of music boxy quality to it. Again, kind of like we're sitting a little bit disconnected. The support for the voice is not really particularly linked to the voice itself. It's this cute little music box sound going along. Dink, dinky, dinky, dink, dinky, dinky. It's cute, it's pretty, it's reminiscent of childhood, because isn't that when we sit and play with music boxes and listen to those pretty little chiming sounds? Or I was going to say maybe even Christmas, because sometimes music boxes feature in those sorts of Christmas expressions. But I wouldn't say this really reminds me of Christmas. I was just trying to think of where's this music box sound coming and going, but on top of all of that, we have this voice which is so aching, so begging. I just want to take off this uniform. I don't want to be a part of this mindless, brainless crowd that is just going on this horrible direction, and I'm in this cell. And I want to go home. And remember, we've talked a bit about home in one of the earlier songs. Now it says, I want to go home. And now this fortress, this bunker, this place of safety, this way of protecting ourselves has now become a prison cell. And I'm waiting here. It's interesting. Somebody else isn't accusing this person of guilt. It's almost like they're voluntarily still sitting here because I want to know. And so again, we're approaching it from a different angle now. And in this cell is not somebody who's been accused by somebody else of guilt or a crime. I've chosen to be in this cell. I've put myself in this cell. Because the question of whether I'm guilty or whether I have been guilty all this time, is something that I have to find out. How am I going to find out if I'm just sitting in this cell? It's changing this whole perspective of the wall again. Still, it's a voluntary isolation, but it's no longer a choice to self-protect. It's a desire to judge or be judged. But the music is so interesting underneath it.
I wanna go home, take off this uniform and leave the show. But I'm waiting in this cell because I have to know, have I been...
Who would think of putting that kind of music under such a question? It's the last few songs, he has placed music that really supports the lyrics and the ideas within the lyrics. And now this, I'm trying to figure out, is there any connection at all other than the fact that it's a cute little sounding thing that works with the harmonies and all? I guess I'll have to think about it a little bit.
Have I been guilty all this time?
I think I need to get my mind out of the music boxy idea and look for something else.
I wanna go home, take off this uniform.
It's kind of like a leaf floating to the ground, or
I'm waiting in this cell
a feather dropping through the air.
Have I been guilty all this time?
Maybe there's this sort of and then it comes to a stop, kind of abruptly, but it's supposed to go on. It's light, it's airy, it's floaty in a way. It's kind of a bit like it's trying to fly, or wishing it could fly, wishing for freedom perhaps, wishing for a bit of fresh air. I'm thinking now of falling leaves and drifting feathers and flying kites, and I'm trying to figure out what sort of implication this has musically here, and it's fascinating because it's not immediately obvious to me, at least. It has this sort of sad chromatic descent, step by step, in every line. And again, it slows down at the end gradually. Again, it makes me think of a music box coming down to the end of the spring. But I guess I'm made very curious by hearing this. I don't have any immediate ideas of or solid thoughts about what this is musically about and how does it relate to the lyrics. Maybe it's not meant to. Maybe it's meant to sound separated but I guess I'll think about it for a while before I say much more. Let me listen to the last bit of it just one more time and then I'll go on.
Guilty all this time.
And now it wants to go on, and I hear something coming which is going to carry us into the next one. So that was my first listen to Stop. Very short, a little bit baffling, bewildering to me, musically, but ideologically Very fitting. So let's go on and see what comes next.